Alright, so I just started the stream, and I'm right on my pumpkin melon farm, and I got it set up right now. I should be doing 4 pumpkins, 4 melons.
Yeah, it's going through a commercial right now.
Ah, so it does do the commercials at the same time. That makes sense. I want to play that game, but that thing's like, at launch, it's going to be $60 or $80 or something like that.
Okay.
WildStar.
That was interesting. Matthew No was the fact that Matthew No's asking for you to join their server.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from. That's just weird. Maybe they're a little bit lonely or something.
Maybe. Yeah,
Alright.
I know that. I know that design. I used to use that design a lot.
And I personally like it because of this, not only the size, but also this is how it ties in with the sugarcane farm. Now, sometimes it'll kind of go off and only get a couple sugarcane, but because it's based on any time. Yeah, see? There it goes. Alright, so that's a little bit lagged there. Yeah, so that's my... Rather than setting up any kind of a timer system, extra redstone, I figured that there really was no loss because, you know, it's only out there for half a second if there's any that aren't grown. Plus, it's fully automated to the point of not ever having to touch it. And this actually
that is a good
too
point.
much because, let me try and get up to the top here. So, you know, luckily I found that, as you can tell, it's not really lagging too much right now, even though there's a couple items in the system. But once you get, like, even if it's so much as one stack of something that you have, you know, 64 different items running through 64 different hoppers and through the droppers, it's freaking nuts. It'll go from 30 frames per second down to about 6.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Take some damage here.
Looks like you spent a fair amount of time designing that thing.
Well, the designs are not my own, obviously. I mean, I've come up with my own item ladders, but they weren't so compact. This whole entire system, though, I mean, of course, the idea is to actually start closing it off, hiding all the hoppers, so you're going to be seeing, like, well, even the walls are got stuff worked into them.
Well, I have a tendency to pretty things up a lot, so in regards to any machines or whatnot that you want to build, by all means, build them, put them wherever you want, design them however you want, whatever the most effective, efficient way is, and I'll work around it.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the idea with this was having, you know, I mean, the design is kind of there as far as you can see how it could look decent, not like a big industry building. But it's also like really functional. That was the biggest thing, obviously. So like every single corridor, every single column that has all the item sorting, you have your access door. Every single wall has furnaces, so that way no matter where you're at, if you gotta cook something, it's right there. Workbenches, trash dumps into lava. Obviously, at some point, they're all connected to the same tube. It all
looks like you're
down.
using trap chests there.
Some of them are traps, some of them are not.
Yeah, so you can get that side-by-side effect.
Yeah, the side-by-side with a double chest. That's because, well, I actually wanted to store a lot of stuff. And it does, like, these things right here, once it catches up, it looks like they're just kind of, you know, walled pillars.
Yep.
Those are actually specifically meant to pick up on raw meat behind there. So it's just sorters without the chest that goes back into the system.
Okay.
But it's set up to where all of this stuff here is all the food. So once it gets past this point, It should only be raw stuff left as far as food or overflow. And this is where it pulls out all the raw stuff.
Okay.
Down
Now
below,
you're
there's like,
using a minecart system to deliver the items up.
nope, dropper. See, that's all dropper.
Well, I know droppers deliver items down.
No, droppers will actually push it up. The way the droppers work is more of a push, so it'll push it into whatever block is next to it. Um, if it's a solid block, it kind of obviously bounces off somewhere. If it's a non-solid block like glass, then it'll try and move up, or whatever the shortest distance is to air. Or if it's a container, it'll push it into the container. So it'll push it into the hoppers, it'll push it into the next dropper. And so this is all set up on a timing system where it'll push it up. Oh, there goes one. The comparator will pick up on it, send the signal with a slight delay to light up the next one.
Interesting. Aha. Okay, I see what you're doing. Got it. I was looking at it a little differently. You're using a dispenser to do that.
No, those are actually droppers. You don't want to use a dispenser. Droppers are, there's a slight difference between the dropper and the dispenser, namely
Right. That's what I was meaning to say. It was the dropper, not the dispenser. It's the same block type, just a couple different. But yeah. I know it's exactly what you're doing there. I actually used a dropper for that sense for my what was it? My grass farm.
Mm-hmm.
It literally was on a timer to where it would use the dropper. It would shoot up a bone meal up on from under the grass. It would then cause it to where grass, flowers, and whatnot would come up, and then it would actually the timer would activate the other two droppers to throw water out to completely clear it out and push it into a hopper.
Yeah.
Cool little system until the admins decided to make it to where every time a bone meal is shot through a dropper, it breaks the dropper.
Yeah, I never actually. I don't think did I show you I don't think I showed you the tree machine in this. I think you saw it though.
Probably.
Also, another thing that's worked into the system is obviously use a lot of the cobblestone. So it's got 3 storage bins. This 4th column here behind there, if these 3 are filled, it'll drop that back into the system where it gets automatically cooked, and it'll turn into, your smooth stone here. But like a lot of your stuff that you normally mass produce, there's a catch for it somewhere that'll drop it back down, and it'll pop into a certain part of the system that will actually throw it through the furnaces, which are also automated. So like extra coal and charcoal, blocks of coal, they also get fed into the furnaces.
Nice.
And this whole entire island, it's 160 by 160, and it's out in the middle of the ocean, fully built from the ground up. I basically dug to a certain spot that I wanted it to be, and then started digging up, and I built the column 2 going up, and built out from there. And
okay.
Yeah, well, if the thing would stop disappearing.
Okay.
Well, over there.
Oh, by the way, we are definitely going to have to make an Enderman farm.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind having plenty of ender chests around. I like to throw those things around everywhere. And over there is a iron farm. And just getting that set up without using any cheats, hacks, or anything else was a pain in the ass, because I did it fully, like 100% correct. This was the only piece of land out here, and I started on getting that done before I built anything else, because of all those hoppers, obviously.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it's probably messed up with all the freaking loading issues that these things have.
Yeah, well, that's something we're definitely going to have to build as soon as we can as soon as we can actually afford to do so. Probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah. See, there's a bunch in one in that one, a bunch in this one. Uh, and none in that one.
You do know you can actually block that off, right?
Block what off?
Those areas that have the villagers, you can actually put a block on the top of the area just to keep them in there.
Well,
Hell, you don't even have to have it a 2x2.
actually, well, the problem is them actually getting out. They stay in there, so I never really worried about it. So I can see them bouncing from a distance.
Ah, okay.
Because, especially with the lag from that, when you first load this thing up, if there's any items going through that system, if you notice these things are double walled, they're also double floored, and even then, they will still, like, I'll load it up, and villagers, obviously from here, fell out.
Wow.
And to start this, corralling these guys was a pain, because of course, I was trying to go for the actual system where this is on the Gamerpedia wiki.
Mm-hmm.
This tower.
Oh, you're doing the whole move them around with carts and luring them with birds and such.
Nope. Because this was the only piece of land, there's nothing around here. These had to be
Zombies.
yeah. So I created the base of the platform and had it a few blocks out from here. And I had it all dark. I threw up some walls for me to run around on and waited for zombies to spawn, changed them, corralled them. The only thing I had in here
If we're
was
going to do this, I have an idea of how we can do this a little bit more efficiently.
summon.
No, not quite like that. I'm more talking about the basically having a mob spawner. It's a standard mob spawner that I build on a skyblock.
Yeah, you'll have to show me sometime. Because yeah, I don't think I would ever do this from scratch again. It was one of those things like, okay, I've challenged that once. I don't think I'm doing it again.
Oh?
Well, the whole entire, to actually get them corralled in here properly, getting 2 in each side, and from there, of course, they, went and bred on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I had to slowly wall them in, corral them in, and I mean, the total process was probably a total, I think, of about 11 or 12 hours.
Okay.
But because I was seriously like
honestly,
a lot of, like during the night times, I would be up here waiting and catching zombies.
Yeah, no, in my case, you'll be able to do it without it having to be nighttime. You can do it anytime during any cycle of the day.
Yeah, because that was.
And for that matter, since you have to, have them down to like half a heart before you can turn them?
I can't. Actually, the exact rules on that weren't even. You have to throw. It's a potion of strength, and then feed them a golden apple, and then after that, it's just they have to stay alive for like 5 minutes or something like that, and then they turn.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll probably just have to set up like an arena style and start killing things. We'll go for that route at least.
Oh yeah, and actually, right now I'm diving underneath.
So here's an interesting thing, just from the design that you have there. What if we actually set it up to where you would corral 2 of the zombies into each of those areas because it's easier to move them around, and then turn 2 of them basically at the same time.
Well, would be the trick, is getting them both at the same time, and doing this solo was not so easy.
Well, you have me, so it won't be that big of an issue anymore.
Yeah. Because it would have to be coordinated to where you get them both at the same time without the zombie killing the villager.
Oh, that's actually still fairly easy to do. It's just a matter of corralling each one in their respective corners, and then once they're turned, bump them out and then close up the area.
Yeah. And of course, the one thing that this is like the second thing that really drove me into looking at mods is the not having the ability to use the vanilla system to organize non-stackable stuff.
What do you mean?
Like the actual tools and items and mine carts, the stuff that doesn't stack.
True enough.
there's no way to really pick those out, so I have an
No,
overflow for
there
that.
really isn't.
That's
That's really the only way you can deal with it.
Yeah, I just have a manual, like, anything that doesn't fit anywhere, or which is usually just the non-stackable items, goes into this one box. It's even got signs for anybody that actually uses it. You know, need to be sorted. It's got little lights on top, so that way when they're getting full, kind of a warning.
Okay. Oh, and yeah, as far as the mod packs and whatnot, I'm definitely all game about going completely alphas to, we throw whatever together, and if it crashes, we'll deal with the server and figure out what crashed it, and either update it by our own code or remove it until we can get it fixed or it's updated.
Yeah, well, what my usual process was pretty typical of just, before the updates, back it up and run it and see what's wrong with it. The mod pack that I was running that had tons of mods, like 60 something mods, it was running, but it was just one of those things that every couple hours or so I'd probably have to reboot it. Although I have to admit though, the server itself became pretty stable after a couple updates of some of the mods, but it was more of the client side that there's some kind of a memory leak or something.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
But that was like a month and a half ago, last time I even checked for any of those updates, and because it was all experimental stuff and I was going after development builds, it was a lot of that stuff was updated pretty much on a weekly basis for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta get off
There's
this thing.
two things